Hello and welcome to the Coors Event Center. I am Matt Smith. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, the Buffaloes win once again and they start their season 2-0 as they take the Seattle University Redhawks down tonight 67-55. Sloppy game. It was a win ugly type of ball game for Tad Boyle and his Buffs. Buffs shoot 35% from the field, 16% from three in this one, polar opposite of what they did the other night against Sacramento State where they won 90-53, made 13 threes and shot the lights out. Tonight it was the defense and it was the rebounding more than anything that it got it done for Colorado. They were plus 20 in the rebounding margin. 6 different guys had 5 or more rebounds. It was a very solid performance from the Buffs on the glass, and it was a good game in my opinion to get out of the way before they go to Brooklyn. This is a team that really I think in the past hadn't dealt with a ton of adversity right out of the gate, and this season they do. And I think it's probably a good thing because just 4 games into your year, you face Notre Dame in the Barclays Center in a tough non-conference environment. And I think for these Buffaloes, it was important to get some adversity in there, even though Tad, after the game in the post-game press conference, says that as a coach, of course, you'd never want to deal with any adversity. But tonight they did handle it well. They were led tonight in scoring by Derek White, 15 points. They actually had 4 guys in double figures. Wes Gordon with his first double-double of the season, 11 points and 14 rebounds. The Buffs overcame a slow start in this game. It was really that 3-2 zone of this Seattle University team that threw the Buffs for a loop. Colorado only runs a 2-3 zone. They have a 3-2, but really don't utilize it much. Actually, in the post-game press conference, Xavier Johnson said he felt like they needed to practice zone a little bit more, which I don't know if I'd necessarily agree with. I just think their execution tonight was definitely not on point. This is a Buffs team that was learning through the kinks and is still trying to find their rotation, as against Sacramento State, Boyle used 10 guys for the better part of that entire game, and tonight it was really about an 8-man rotation and then a 7-man rotation for the most part in the second half, because Dom Collier did not play in the second half at all. That foot injury that he has been dealing with is flaring up again, and Tad Boyle said it's a situation where they're going to have to review it and determine whether or not they need to shut him down or just what the best move is heading forward for not only Dom but this team. And I think we'll hear a resolution of that before the end of the week, most likely, especially because the Buffs play Louisiana Monroe in the second game of this regional round Legends Classic tournament on Thursday night here at Coors Event Center at 7 o'clock. But this Buffs team is one that is still learning who they really are and learning what they can rely on a night in and night out basis. Tonight their defense in the second half was much better, and pretty much a really close game, and closer than it should have been. They were down by 8 in the first half, came back and tied it up at halftime 31-31, and then it wasn't until a George King 3 at the 18:45 mark of that second half lit off a run for Colorado, about 15-16-2 run, and the Buffs really controlled from there on out. However, Seattle brought it back down to a 3-point game after Del Brown fouled a 3-point shooter, and he converted the 4-point play, and then after that, Josh Fortune hits back-to-back threes to pull it away and seal it for Colorado. Certainly not a game that they're happy with, definitely not one that Tad Boyle's happy with, but it's good that you can prove that you can win with the Tad system, which is defense and rebounding, and they did that tonight. I expect them to be much sharper on Thursday. This was a strange game. Very few people here. It was a Monday night. Players had academic responsibilities till about 5 o'clock, Tad Boyle was saying, and so it wasn't a typical rhythmic, routine situation where you're sleeping, getting some rest in before the games, and they did what they needed to tonight, which is important early in the season, and it certainly wasn't pretty, but it was enough. And the Buffs start the season 2-0. Final note here from this game, Xavier Johnson, a special shout out to Xavier Johnson, becoming the 33rd player, in Colorado history to eclipse the 1,000 career points mark, very prestigious mark, and XJ now joins an elite class of Buffs basketball players throughout history. Congrats to XJ, and that's certainly just one milestone of a big year to come for this Buffs team. From the Coors Event Center and for 5280 Sports Network, I am Matt Smith. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you tune in to No Bull Just Buffs this week as we break down the Buffs' 2 first games of the season and get you ready for a little football, as a huge game on Saturday as Colorado will take on Washington State at Folsom Field, a game with quite a bit on the line, and we're going to get into that and much more on the podcast. Until next time, I'm Matt Smith.